fakes the shot. He'll get it back from Batherson. Saves Bussi. It's loose, and Bussi pounces on it and gets a whistle with 26 seconds left in the penalty kill. Jake Sanderson with it. His pass mishandled by Zub, but then he'll flip one, a bouncing puck. Bussi mishandles, gets across, and makes the save on Zub.
Those are hard. Mike, when it bounces and you can't get close to the bounce, you're in trouble, and he reacted beautifully.
He did. He did react beautifully. Hi, everyone. It's the Canes Corner podcast. I am Adam Gold. We're trying to get this in before all of us lose power. This will be the last thing probably before, I'll just say Con Ed, for those of us who grew up in the New York area, before Con Ed shuts down for the night. 4-1 win. Canes get it done in spite of themselves. We'll talk about it. We're brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it is for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina on Hamlin Road in Durham. No place like it. Sammy Hanna and his crew do an incredible job. Man, we're all sitting here bracing for whatever's coming, right? So let's talk about the good things. 4-1 win. That's the good thing. Brandon Bussi. That's the good thing. Individual performances. Jalen Chatfield, Jacob Slavin, Keandre Miller again. It is amazing to me how much shade Miller has gotten considering how good he's been, and he has been great lately. Absolutely great lately. I thought he was excellent again tonight. Chatfield, though, was the best on the blue line tonight. Let's see who else. Andrei Svechnikov, Seth Jarvis, both really good. Will Carrier, we're going to talk a little bit about Will Carrier coming up later on. I mean, always has a huge impact on the game. So, again, we will get into him, and we will get into where the power play went the last two games. Holy mackerel. They're 1 for their last 9, and the one was a joke. Officials weren't great tonight, but, you know, they're not great every night. But the Hurricanes pick up a 4-1 win. Couple of shout-outs, and the reason I'm doing this now is because I want to get into something real quick. First, hi to you in Charlotte, checking in from Bluefield, West Virginia. Our guy, Mikhailev in Adelaide Hills, Australia. So we're going to have an overnight low here at my house of about 18 degrees. 108 degrees. I'd take it. I mean, to be honest, to be fair, I'd rather have 18 than 108. But if I'm going to have 18, I don't want any precipitation. And that's coming. So, yeah, it's hot. It's hot in the Southern Hemisphere. RTP checking in, and we'll end the shout-outs with Hurricanes. I don't know where you are. It doesn't matter. It's fine. We chat all the time. But I think it's time for you to drop your Frederick Anderson hate. So after a game in which Brandon Bussi does what he did tonight, and there weren't a lot of spectacular saves, but there were some good ones, and he made a lot of them. If your first thought is, if Freddie Anderson plays, we lose 7-4, I would think about like a cold towel. Just like that can't be your first thing. How do you have that much dislike for somebody who has been so good for the organization? Come on, man. Let's be better than that. We're all fans here. Part of the reason why this is so much fun for me to do is because we all get to be fans. But that can't be the first thing you think about. So I'll give you a mulligan on it, but my gosh, that's terrible. Just awful. Awful. Here's the Anderson is obviously not the same guy. Just isn't. Which really makes the top story that much better. Because I think we all know that Freddie Anderson this year would have been incapable, at least, based on all the evidence we have seen through now 52 Hurricanes games. He would be incapable of getting Carolina through a playoff series, let alone a deep run in the playoffs. So it just makes the Brandon Bussi story that much better. We're going to get to that in a minute. So I thought let's just kind of go through the goals real quick for Carolina. First goal, Will Carrier, and we'll talk about him later. His 6th of the year, and interestingly enough, his 6th career goal in 17 games against Ottawa. So you do that math. If you score a goal every 3 games, actually it's better than every 3 games. I mean, that's pretty close to a 30-goal clip. Will Carrier ain't that, but that's what he's done to Ottawa. And the goal really wasn't about Will Carrier. The goal was really about Jalen Chatfield. Not only does he make the play in his own end, I guess that was a play where he chipped it around the offensive player, the forechecker. He chipped it around, then got it, and then made the beautiful pass to Jankowski, who recognized that Carrier had position on his defender, and Carrier just kind of held him off. Jankowski skated in, made the pass, backdoor. Is an easy tap in for Carrier to make it 1-0. So good play, all 3 zones, right? It was a great defensive play, then the great stretch pass all the way up the ice, and then smart finish. Second goal, Jarvis's goal, really made by Alexander Nikishin. Actually, Sebastian Aho, maybe the only good thing he did in the game was he was part of the play that got Carolina the puck. But Nikishin's trying to pass it to Andrei Svechnikov below the goal line, and the pass is defended. It's knocked down by an Ottawa defender, but Nikishin just reaches out and pulls the puck back, just takes the puck right away from him, and then he zips a pass, through the slot right to Seth Jarvis on the back door, and his shot beats Reimer, and that made it 2-0. Those goals came less than 2 minutes apart. So Carolina, within 6 minutes of the game, is up 2-0, and you think, man, they are dominating this game. And no, they weren't. I don't think they were the better team in the first period. And then they get the third goal later on when Taylor Hall just kind of, might as well shoot it. And he shot it, and it somehow got through Reimer. And that made it 3. And I'm not saying Carolina's never blowing a 3-0 lead because, we've seen it. Like in back-to-back games, as a matter of fact. But Ottawa's not Florida. Ottawa's not Tampa. And Brandon Bussi was in net for this game, as opposed to those other 2 3-goal leads blown. Actually, Bussi was in net for the first, the one against Florida. It wasn't really his fault, but happens. Anyway, Bussi was playing too well and was already in the rhythm of the game because he saw so many shots. 35 shots on goal, 34 saves, 1 goal allowed. It was a great game for the stat book for Brandon Bussi, but his game tonight wasn't nearly as good as his game against Buffalo when he made 17 saves. Half as many saves, yet that game was clearly better than this one because of the quality of the chances and the abundance of the quality chances. Didn't have that here tonight. Clearly, Ottawa had some really good chances. But it wasn't like it was against Buffalo where there were, how was that not a goal? How was that not a, we didn't have that tonight. We had, that's a good save. Oh, that's a good save. That's what we had more from Bussi tonight than anything. He was just really good. Against Buffalo, he was on another level. With all that said, 23 starts, and I think this is the most impressive thing about Bussi. 23 starts, and 21 of them, he has allowed 3 or fewer goals. When the Hurricanes give up 3 or fewer goals, by and large, they win. Like, I think it's now 14 times. It's been 2 or less. Hurricanes' record when they allow 2 or fewer goals is insane. This year, it's, I guess because they allowed 1, it'd be what, 19-1? It's crazy how good the Hurricanes are when they, it's like you can almost count on, well, we're going to get 3. We'll get 3 tonight, at least. Get 3 all the time. And the Hurricanes are one of the few teams, they're, 4th in the NHL in scoring. Scoring goals hasn't been a problem, in spite of the fact that they don't have one of those guys. But Bussi has just been incredible. And because NHL's quality start statistic takes into consideration save percentage, a lot of Bussi's really good starts, he faced so few shots that the save percentage wasn't good. So he'd allowed 2 goals on 17 shots, and the Hurricanes would win 4-2 because he made a bunch of really good saves when it mattered, but it's not even considered a quality start. It's really weird, but that's how they tabulate that thing. But he was so good again. And this was something that I found interesting over the last several days, is that, look, it's been a great story from the beginning. October 5th is when Carolina signed him, or rather claimed him off waivers. October 5th. It was a couple of days after the preseason schedule ended. It was 4 days before opening night. Hurricanes, fearful that they were going to lose Caden Primo, who they have subsequently gotten back, decided, well, we need a goalie. Pyotr Kochetkov, not healthy. We don't know if he's going to be around for the start of the season. We got to have somebody. So Florida waived Bussi. Carolina picked Bussi up. And the rest is the rest. So it's just been an incredible, incredible story. And now we're starting to see the national media not pick up on it, but stop treating it like a novelty. And I'm not blaming anybody for doing that, because I did it. And to an extent, I still fight the urge to go, well, maybe he isn't what we want him to be. I guess it depends on what you want him to be. Do you want him to be, I know, Darren Pang from TNT, and a former goaltender and somebody who's been an analyst for a long time, brought up the V word, Vezina, as it pertains to Bussi. There are 3 main stats, the normal stats, the count, not really the counting stats, but the basic stats when it comes to goaltending. There's wins, there's goals against average, and there's save percentage. Well, now he's got 19 wins. 18 was 9th. 19 wins, I don't see what it is, but he doesn't hurt himself. Now he's probably tied for 8th in terms of wins. But I said this earlier. Today was his 23rd start. The fewest number of starts to get on into the top 10, so have now 19 or 18 or more wins. The fewest number of starts is 30. This was his 23rd start. He's got 7 more starts. Theoretically, he might not win again. But my gosh, this has been, that in and of itself is, worthy of something. Then you go to the goals against average, which coming in, it was 2.20. It went down. And at 2.20, it was 9th best in the league. Obviously, it will go down. It won't go down dramatically because he allowed a goal. The shutout might have dropped it 0.3 3 or so, but still, it'll go down some. He only allowed the 1 goal. So, and the other stat is the save percentage. And when you allow 1 goal and 35 shots, you get make 34 saves. Save percentage is going to go up. Be able to get that number probably by the end of the show. I'm not interested in doing the math myself right now. But he's probably going to end up around, 0.906. And that'll be good for like 10th. What did I just describe? I just described a guy who is one of the best goalies right now in the NHL. He's top 10 in the three most important goaltending categories: wins, goals against, save percentage. And on top of that, couldn't be a better dude. The Hurricanes certainly did step in it when they plucked him off waivers. They had no idea what they had. They really didn't. And Darren Pang talks about Vezina. I do have to admit, I went, whoa, wait, what? I brought it up. I brought up Calder at the beginning of the year before I realized that he was ineligible because he was 27 and not 26. So there's that. And then there's the little blurb that Frank Saravalli from used to be with TSN, and I believe he started Daily Faceoff, but is no longer there. He has left Daily Faceoff. I think he's doing freelance work for whatever, but he's got a podcast. I think it's called Frank something. I honestly don't remember the name of it. It's Frank Saravalli's podcast. And I guess he has somebody that basically hosts it for him. I think his name was Brian Rea. Anyway, I watched the first 25 minutes of it today because it was alerted to me that he talked about Brandon Bussi, so I wanted to listen to it. If you listen to it, great. You probably had the same thought I did. Brian Rea doesn't really know a lot about the Carolina Hurricanes, nor their goaltending situation. Because if you knew about it, you wouldn't say, well, Frederik Andersen has not really been good for Carolina. No, he's been great for Carolina. He is just no longer great. I'm not even sure he's good at this point. He is there right now. That's where he is. He's there. He's present. But it certainly hasn't been consistently good. But Brandon Bussi has. And everything that Bussi has done is pointing towards a contract. And that's what Saravalli got into. So we had this discussion on the radio. We probably had it here, like a month ago. Because he is now eligible to sign a contract. The method in which Carolina acquired him basically said, yes, even though you're going to be an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year, this team can try to sign you to a contract. Well, the rules say that you had to wait until after January 1. Well, we're approaching February 1. And Saravalli said that talks have commenced. Talks have commenced. And we'll see where it ends up. Here's my take on it. I think Carolina will, and honestly, I don't know if this is a great idea for Brandon Bussi, to be honest. Carolina will probably try to get him on a 4-year deal. And if I'm guessing wrong, I'm guessing wrong, but I think they'll try to go 4 years, let's say $3.5 million a year. Pyotr Kochetkov, I believe, has 2 years left at $2 million per. Could that be your $6 million, roughly, goaltending tandem for at least the next 2 years? Could be. At this stage, I'd say probably will be. But my only question is, if you're Bussi, do you sign a 4-year, $3.5 million deal? Or do you say, you know what, for $3.5 million, that's fine. Let's just do 2 years. So when I'm 29, I can go back into the market. Or after next year, and I back this up because that's the way he thinks, and he should think that way. The Hurricanes will extend me a year early because it would make good financial sense. The Hurricanes don't do anything really that doesn't fall into the category of good financial sense. But I've enjoyed watching Bussi. I am fascinated by how this contract is going to look. Fascinated by it. If I'm Bussi's agent, I'm telling him to wait. I'm not going anywhere. It's a perfect team for me. But I'm telling him to wait if I'm Bussi's agent. And if I'm the Hurricanes, I am trying as best I can to get him locked up for as long as I can. I'm not saying for as little as I can, because I don't think it's outrageously low to think that this contract is going to come in at around $3.5 million. All I'm saying is, if I'm Bussi and Bussi's agent, you want to come in at $3.5 million, that's fine, but we're going to do 2 years, not 4. I think Bussi wants to be able to go to the market, and if he continues to play, it doesn't have to play this well, but if he continues to be a legitimate NHL starting goalie on a great team who doesn't allow a bunch of bad goals and gives his team a chance to win more often than not, if that's who Brandon Bussi is going forward, not just this year, but next year, then I want the ability to go back to the market in one summer and get a big deal. I want that possibility. So if I'm Bussi and I agree to, let's say, 2 years, $6 million, because I think it would be even less on a short deal. 2 years, $6 million. If that's what the Hurricanes and Bussi can work out, then after 1 year, if Bussi has another good year, you go back and you go, let's start this now. That's what the Hurricanes would probably want to do. Let's start the process now. If he gives you a second great year doing what he's doing just like this, maybe not even quite as good, well, then he becomes more of a $5 million goalie. Or because the cap will go up, maybe a $6 million goalie. And if that's what you've got, then that's what he should be paid. But I'm thinking about it from his particular angle. If I'm the Hurricanes, I want to go as long as I possibly can at a reasonable number. That's what I want to do. Because then I am locked up. And you know the Hurricanes' philosophy with goalies is we can win with just okay. I do believe it has been proven out that that is true to a point. I've said this before. I absolutely believe it to be true. I don't believe the Hurricanes have lost a single playoff series based on their goaltender. I know how people think about it. I just disagree. I don't think they have lost any series because Frederik Andersen wasn't good enough. To me, it's always about the team. I will say this. I do think in the first couple of years, when the Hurricanes got bounced, and both years were Boston, as much as I loved Peter Mrazek, I think Mrazek, maybe not the first year because he was sort of injured. He was injured in the Islanders series. Then Curtis McElhinney started the Boston series, and then Mrazek came in. But ultimately, Mrazek wasn't very good either. But in the second year, yeah, I think they kind of lost the bubble hockey series to the Bruins. I think they kind of lost that one because Mrazek wasn't very good. And then I thought they lost the Lightning series in the crazy pandemic Central year. I think they lost that because Nedeljkovic wasn't very good. But for the most part, the Hurricanes have not lost in the playoffs because their goalie wasn't good enough. So if Brandon Bussi can just be good, Carolina's got to feel like they're ahead of the game. All right. I went way too long on that. But that's fine. We're going to dump out of here after a couple of quick hits. One, Jalen Chatfield's playing his best hockey as a Hurricane. It's not just tonight. I think this is a pretty good run with he and Jacob Slavin. Probably not a coincidence. Just saying. Probably not a coincidence that Chatfield and Slavin as a pair means that Chatfield's playing his best hockey. Therein goes Jacob Slavin. I also think that Keandre Miller is really grooving right now. 22 minutes, 37 seconds on the ice. I think he led Carolina in ice time on the blue line. 3 hits, 2 block shots, 1 takeaway. He was excellent again. So Walker was good. Carolina's been very good. Nikishin continues to get better. He still has some defensive issues. What happened tonight on the power play, it's not his fault. It's part of the reason why I worried about using him on the power play. The one thing that I have seen about Nikishin, and I don't know how much you can get better at this, but that I have seen from him, whether it's last year in the cameo he made in the playoffs, or really preseason and the rest of the regular season, is that there is just a little bit of lack of foot speed. So when you it's not that he made a mistake, when the puck goes the other way, shorthanded, he has a hard time recovering. And that's what would concern me. He has a hard time recovering. And in fact, on the post-game show, I have to come up with a defensive player of the game, and here it is.
Nikishin fumbles it, and a chance for Greg, short-handed. He's cut off. Ottawa fans want a penalty. They're not going to get one.
Partner, that is just a massive play by Seth Jarvis. Ottawa gets a late goal and a short-handed goal after Nikishin fumbles it.
Yep.
You're in some adverse waters. Big-time play by Seth Jarvis on the back check.
Yep, absolutely was. Great play, didn't take a penalty, dynamite. Nikishin's getting better and better, though, man. It's been fun to watch the progress. Still, we'll have occasional issues. He did in the game against Chicago defensively, getting crisscrossed with a teammate on their assignment. Either way, it's going to happen, especially to a young defenseman, especially coming from the KHL, which is, frankly, probably not as good a league. It has some higher-end skill in it, but I think the AHL is probably a better league than the KHL. But he's getting better, and that's all you can ask. And he looks it's night and day what we saw at the beginning of the year, I think. I think the head coach feels that way too. All right, so we didn't have enough time. We'll get into it after the Utah game on Thursday. We'll talk about Will Carrier. But let me just close on this. Actually, a quick aside. I thought there were probably more, 3 really bad calls in this game. One, and by the way, 2 of them benefited Carolina, and 2 of them led to goals. Right? So understand that when I criticize officials, I'm trying to come at this from really a nonpartisan way. On the first goal, I thought Jalen Chatfield got away with interference. I thought, as a matter of fact, Mike called it as a penalty right away. but they let the play go. And I don't understand why, but they did. It was clearly interference on Chatfield. He was not playing the puck. He was impeding the pursuit of a forechecker. And it wasn't like the forechecker dumped the puck in. Because if the forechecker dumps the puck in, you can impede that guy. But the puck was dumped in from behind him, and Chatfield still skated in front of him and basically stopped. And that, to me, is interference. But the play continues. Chatfield ends up with the puck, passes it to Jankowski. Jankowski to carry a 1-0. And the other call that I thought was bad was Carolina's already on the power play. Seth Jarvis and Claude Giroux get tangled up. Jarvis goes down, and they send Giroux off. If that had happened the other way, I think we would have all had kittens. I don't think that's a penalty. Two guys just get their legs, tied up to each other. Nobody was trying to do that. It just happened. Two guys were in the same general space, and all of a sudden the Hurricanes end up with a 5-on-3 out of it. It's poor officiating, I think. And then I don't understand how you come up with the penalties they came up with when Taylor Hall was boarded in the corner. And then Hall, they clearly thought Hall embellished, but he might have. I'm not even saying he didn't. But either way, it's a penalty. It's a boarding penalty. I think it was Jake Sanderson. Was it Sanderson? Whoever it was. Hall was boarded. They don't call the board. And ultimately, Carolina ends up with a... and Carolina ends up with the only penalty. And they lose Hall for 10 minutes. I think that was a good call. By the way, I don't think you get the benefit of the doubt because you're a former MVP. I just think that you look at every case on its own merits, and honestly, I didn't think Taylor Hall. I didn't think he embellished, but even if you think he embellished, you gotta call both. I know it sounds weird, but it's clear that he was hit from behind. It's clear. All right. One thing quickly. Power play, booty tonight. It was actually worse than it was against the Blackhawks when they went 1 for 5. And in this one, they went 1 for 4. They had almost no chances. By the way, they were terrible in the faceoff circle all night. But the power play just, against the power play, a penalty kill like Ottawa's, which is 31st in the league, to look so bad. Yes, no goss to spare. That matters. The fact that you don't have Martin Necas doesn't factor it in at all. Well, because I've seen this more than just one person has said this, not necessarily tonight because I haven't gone back into the chat, but I get it all the time. Well, they don't have Marty Necas, so that's why the power play is struggling. Folks, they had Marty Necas in the power play, struggled at times. It ain't about the entries. This team enters the puck. I mean, it didn't necessarily do it well tonight or last night, but they've generally entered the puck in pretty well. Better than maybe you think. But I hate to lay it at the foot of one guy because I think not anybody was good or not anybody was great. But I thought this might have been the worst game Sebastian Aho has played this season for sure. I mean, I thought he was a mess. He is now 11 games without a goal, but that doesn't mean he hasn't played well. I think he's played very well. Tonight wasn't it. But it is now 11 games without a goal. He was 1 for 11 in the faceoff circle. He gave the puck away 3 times. He didn't have a shot on goal. In fact, he had just one attempt and it missed the net. Whew! Sebastian Aho played that game. Carolina was essentially non-threatening and gave up 35 shots on goal. and Carolina won? Crazy. But Carolina won. We're brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it is for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina on Hamlin Road in Durham. No place like it. Sammy and his crew do a great job. Next time, we'll talk about Will Carrier. And by the way, next time won't be Thursday for me. We'll pick it up again on that weekend, Saturday and Sunday, back-to-back games. But I'm in transit on Thursday. That is, of course, assuming that we're not still iced over. So far, so good. It is just before 11:30 on Saturday night. And the heavy stuff hasn't come down yet. Fingers crossed. All right. Thank everybody for hanging out. I appreciate your time. Good win for the Canes because they didn't play well. Brandon Bussi did. Good thing. We'll see everybody next time on the Canes Corner podcast. Good night.